Hey y'all, it's Diane with Shellcraft One and my old barn door treasures on eBay, and Digital Diane Designs on Etsy for digitals only. And today we're going to finish our shaker ephemera that we started making in the last video. But first, before I do that, I want to give some big old squishy Tennessee mountain hugs. I want to send them out to a few of my friends who always support me and always comment on my videos. I always know that they're here, and I just want you to know how much I love you and how much I appreciate you. So sending those big old squishy hugs to Celeste at Woodland Inspired, to Barbara Burrier, thank you, Barbara, to Kathleen Gill, sending you big hugs too, honey, to Denise S., thank you for always watching and commenting, and to Rhonda Atchison, who has been a big supporter of mine for a very long time. And so I just wanted to say hey and send you some big old squishy hugs and tell you how much I appreciate you. So, okay, so we're going to get started. I know I didn't get to finish or I don't think it was yesterday, but anyway, in the last video, doing the shaker ephemera, and I had a couple more things that I wanted to make and I wanted to show you. So we're just going to get started. So we'll do this one in a minute. I think I'm going to start with this one. So this is just using our packaging. This one I think came from the dollar store, and so I'm just going to open this up, and I'm not going to worry too much about this opening down here, but I'm just going to pull my insert out, maybe, if I can get it out. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to sit the sleeve to the side, and this part has a little flap on it that I don't need, so I'm just going to bend it backwards or fold it backwards and then just kind of tear it off, because we're not going to need that, and you're not going to be able to see this part anyway because we're going to cut this part off, so it's not going to matter, you know, if this is a little raggedy. So the first thing I want to do is I want to choose a paper to cover each side. So let me find my paper. Okay, so I wanted one that would be pretty on this side, but that you could still, you know, see the shaker items through it, or, you know, it wouldn't take away from the shaker items. So I'll put this one on one side, and I'm going to put this one on the other side. Okay, so I've got each one attached to the proper side, and then I'm just going to trim around the edges where there are still little white areas showing. Like that. So now we've got it trimmed up. I'm going to go ahead and slide it into my little plastic sleeve. Okay, and I'm going to slide it all the way up almost to, I don't know if you can see that, but where the little hole is for where, you know, so the store could hang it in the store. Okay, and I'm just going to slide it all the way to one side. And then I'm going to trim off this little piece here. Just like that. So now we have, you know, our sleeve is a little bit bigger, but I'm okay with that because we're going to do some stitching. And then we'll trim off the extra little edges. But if you push it all the way over to one side, you can kind of eliminate some trimming on that side. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to stitch down through here, across, and up through here. So I'm gonna pause it and stitch that real quick. Okay, so I've got my stitching done. I left one end open, and then I'm just gonna take my scissors and trim around the edge here. Or you can take your trimmer, whatever works best for you. And we're just gonna get rid of this extra plastic. Y'all, I made one of these yesterday trying to practice. Really funny story. Y'all know I don't love glitter. Well, I decided I was going to put some glitter in one of these. And when I went to pour the glitter, the lid came off and the whole thing went everywhere. I had glitter all over this craft room. You can probably still see glitter on my mat right here. Oh my goodness, it took me 30 minutes to clean up all of that glitter. I could not believe I did that. I'll show you the one that I did at the end of this, or when we finish with this one. But oh my goodness, I made the worst mess. I think I went through about 10 wipes and about 10 napkins trying to get everything cleaned up. It was awful. Okay, so now that we have our stitching done, I'm going to go ahead and choose my little goodies, and I've already got them chosen. So I've made a little tray here, and I have, let's see, I've got stamps and little pieces of lace and buttons and little flowers and little tiny, I don't know if you can see those little tiny seed beads, little flower cabochons. I have a little star. This is like a little gold clothespin, a little key. There are so many different things in here. So I'm just going to, and I've got sequins too. So I'm just going to just pour all of this into here. Just like that. Get all of my sequins. There we go. Okay, and then I'm just going to kind of take my hand and spread everything out. I've got labels in there. All kinds of fun stuff. And I don't want it all piled up. There might be too much. I might need to take some of this out. Here, we'll take some of it out because I think there is too much. You know, you don't want so much in there that it overwhelms the whole process. So I think I'm going to leave that one and take this one out because it kind of clashes with this teal. And we'll take this one out. So we'll leave the vintage looking labels. See all my little seed beads in there and my sequins. Love the little sequins. Okay, I think that's good. All right. Let me turn this over because you know what? I should probably take that shank off real quick. Let me just do that real quick. Y'all, these sequins get staticky and they stick to your fingers and you can't get rid of them. Okay, got that shank taken off of that one. Alright, so we got all of our little pretties, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let them slide to the bottom, and then I'm going to stitch across the top and close this in. Okay, so I've got it closed in, and then I'm just going to trim this little piece of plastic off down here at the bottom, and we will be finished. And I'm going to grab a journal and show you some different ways to use it in your journal. Okay, so I've got my big journal here, and these you can trim down. You know, if you want smaller ones, you can trim them down, but I made these specifically for my big journal. So you can size them however you want to. Just because the packaging is that size doesn't mean you have to use it at that size. But it would be cute to, you could do like a corner tuck right here and just glue it down. Or you could make it a flip. Oh, I guess I would be good if I showed you in frame. Sorry. So you could, you know, attach it there and make it flip out. Here's another one that I did that would look cute on there. And I just added some of my my digital washi tape that's on the rice paper. And a piece of washi tape there. Basically, I tore this. So I put a piece of washi tape and stitched it down and made sure, you know, and on this, if you wanted to make it a flip, you could take a piece of lace, you know, like a pretty piece of lace now, and you could, you know, make it a belly band. Now this one's not cut right or anything, but it would be a pretty little belly band. You know, you could make you an extra little pocket or a belly band on there. And then here's the one that has the glitter in it. And I really, really wanted this one to turn out good because I have this as Heather at Ruby and Pearl XO. She's on Facebook or Etsy and YouTube, I think, as Ruby and Pearl XO. And she's just the sweetest thing, and she has the prettiest little ledger pages. And so I just kind of wanted to make it blingy, but I didn't want to make it that blingy. But anyway, so there is some examples of the ones using your packaging. And of course your packaging, you get things that are all different size packaging, so you can use them and make different things out of them. For instance, this is a different size packaging, so we're going to make something different out of this. So let's just get started. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this box, and just all I want is just this one panel. So I'm going to cut it out and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have this cut out, and I went ahead and cut out the back of the box too, and I discarded the rest of it, because what we're going to do is we're going to use this for the backing of the box. Now, the first thing we want to do is we want to put our pretty paper here where we want it, but don't take this out yet, because you see how this pops out? Don't take it out yet. We're going to just go ahead and cover that, and it's not going to matter. And I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to choose my paper that I want to be the front of this shaker. And I think I want to use this. This is another one of Ruby and Pearl's digitals, and I will link her in the description box below so you can find her digitals. Now, you don't have to use digitals. You can use my digitals, you can use her digitals, you can use somebody else's digitals, but you can also use scrapbooking paper, you can use book page, whatever you have that is available to you, you can use that, to decorate with. So I'm just basically going to go ahead and put some glue down here and go ahead and get my paper glued on, and then I will come back. It doesn't matter what kind of glue you use. Because this might have a little bit of a slick surface, I would use like a real good wet glue, maybe like an art glitter glue or something, which is what I'm going to use. So, and the way I'm going to do it, I'll go ahead and show you this part. I'm not going to put any glue here on this little piece that pops out, so that the paper is not attached to this. I'm just going to put glue around the edges. And if you notice, my box is not trimmed up too good right now, and that's okay, because we'll trim it up at the end once we get everything attached to it, all the paper attached to it and everything, and get it put together. Then we'll kind of even it up. So I'm just going to run some glue. I'm probably putting entirely too much glue, but that is par for the course for me, because I always put too much glue. Okay, and then I'm going to leave the middle blank, and then I'm just going to lay my digital right on top of here, flatten it out, and let that dry. Okay, and while that's drying, I'm going to take the backing and I'm going to turn it over, because I want this to be this is going to be the side that butts up against the back of this. I'll show you in just a minute. But anyway, we want to cover this, and I just want to cover it with book page, because again, this is what's going to be showing through the window. So you don't want it to take away from whatever's in your shaker, or this one I think I might make a specimen card. So I think I'm going to take this. This is one of my very old 1800s German, oh, what is it? A devotional. That's what it is. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue this on here. I'm going to let everything dry, and I'll come right back. Okay, I've got everything adhered, and it's dry pretty much. I mean, it's still a little bit wet, but it's okay. I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to go ahead and pop out this little centerpiece. Now, in light of doing this, this is my first time doing this, so you learn as you go. I probably would have went ahead and popped this out, because I wasn't thinking that I want to keep a little bit of this paper that's in the middle to kind of wrap around the edges of the inside here, so that you don't see cardboard showing through. So just for future references, if you try this, just go ahead and pop it out before you put your paper on, but leave your paper in the middle. Okay, so I'm going to pop that out. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my X-Acto knife, and I'm just going to make myself a little X here. Where is my X-Acto knife? Here we go. I'm just going to make myself a little X. kind of in the center. Doesn't have to be beautiful. And I'm going to come kind of close to the corners. And again, it doesn't have to be straight. It doesn't have to be beautiful. You're just basically trying to get yourself some little pieces that you can wrap around the edges of your frame. Okay, and then I'm going to fold this over like so. And I'm just going to glue a little bit here. So I'm going to trim just a little bit of this off because I just want enough. So you should probably go all the way to your edge here. There we go. And then I'm just going to glue each side down. Hopefully y'all can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to do this all the way around. And this just makes sure that, you know, you don't see, from the front, you don't see any of the cardboard edging. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut these little pieces off, because you just need a little bitty short piece, just enough to glue it down. Okay, and then I'm going to grab my art glitter glue and just run some glue there. Push that down into the glue, and it doesn't matter what this side looks like because you're not going to see it anyway, so this is just for aesthetics. Glue that piece down. Glue that piece down. And glue that piece down. And I'm going to see if I can, I didn't cut that right. I should have went all the way to the corner. So again, this is me learning as I go. Which is usually how I do things. Kind of fly by the seat of my pants. Okay. And then we're just going to cut around the edges here. Okay, so I've got all the extra cut off, but it's not cut off super neatly because it's not going to matter yet. Because like I say, once we get it to put together, we'll trim everything up in the end. Okay, so this is kind of how it's going to look. You know, you're going to have, this is what's going to be your background. But then we need our little plastic piece of packaging, because that's what's going to hold our specimen. Okay, so I am just going to kind of measure. Now, this one has the little hole in it from, you know, where they hang it in the store. So you have to make provisions for that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and take my sewing machine, and I'm just going to stitch a line right underneath this little space right here so that I know I need to cut that off. So let me do that and I'll be right back. Okay, so I stitched that, and then I'm just going to trim off this excess little piece here. And it's not going to matter if it's neat because you're not going to see this part anyway. So we'll get rid of that. But basically what this stitch is for is to make sure that our specimen doesn't fall out of the little sack or the little bag. Okay, and I'm just tying these a couple of times just to make sure that the stitching doesn't come undone, but it's going to be encased anyways. So that's probably just redundant for me to do, but I'm just going to get these out of the way. Okay, and then I'm going to take my little sack here and hold it up to my window on the back side just to make sure everything's going to fit. And then I'm going to put my specimen into the bag. Okay, so I just have some little dried flowers here. I'm going to open up the little sticky flap and cut it off. I'm just going to get rid of that because we don't need it. Just cut off the top of that little bag. And then I'm going to open up the side. And the reason I'm going to open up the side just a little bit is because I need to be able to place my specimen in here in a way to where it's going to stay. So I'm going to have it open up like this a little bit. I'm going to scoot this over out of the way. So this will be, I guess, the bottom. And then I'm going to take my specimen and I'm going to kind of place it around where I think I'd like it. These are some flowers that I dried. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'll put that one there. And then I want to put this one here. Like so. I'll flip him over. I'm going to get rid of the little pieces there. Okay, so you just figure out how you want it placed in there. And then I'm going to take just a tiny, tiny bit of art glitter glue. And I'm going to put on the back. But before I do that, I just want to kind of put my little frame here and see if that's the way I want it. And I kind of like that. So I'm going to take my art glitter glue and I'm literally just going to put a little dot on the back of each one of these just to hold it into place until I get it attached permanently. Okay, so I'm going to put that one right there. I'm going to put a little bit on the back of him. Wait a minute, is that the back or the front? This is the back. Let's put a little bit of art glitter glue there, because you're not going to see the back of this. Okay, and I'm going to slide this kind of over that way. I'm going to press him down. I'm going to put just a couple of dots on the back of here. And if you get glue on your plastic little sack where it's showing, just kind of take a little napkin and dab it off. That's why you want this side open, you know, whichever side works best for you, but you want a side open so that you can get everything placed in there the way you want it. Okay, now I want to take out these little pieces. Okay, and then this little piece, well, if I can get him in my hand, I'm going to put just a little dab of glue there. Sometimes when you're working with dried flowers, it kind of gets a little messy, but that's okay. Okay, and I'm going to put him right here. And then I'm going to take, let me just put the lid or the needle back in here, because if I don't, my glue will dry out. I have a little piece of my washi tape that's printed on rice paper. I'm just going to put a little bit of my Oohoo stick on the back of it. And I'm just going to tear a little piece off because I don't think I need a piece that big. We'll put him to the side. And then I'm going to hold this in place and just put this little piece of tape right across the bottom. There we go. Okay, we've got that little piece. All right, so that's what it's going to look like. Okay, so if we put our frame over the top, and then if we slide this one underneath, Oh my goodness. You have to excuse Remington. She's been barky lately. Grandma's yelling at her. Okay, let's see if I can get this to slide up underneath here. Okay, just like that. So that's kind of what our finished product will look like, so to speak. Okay, and I like that. So what I'm going to do is I am going to stitch around the edges of this. And I'm going to go ahead and bring the sewing machine in here so you can kind of see how I'm doing it, because a lot of people are like, you know, how do you sew on that plastic? So let me pull it in. Okay, I don't know if you can see too awfully well, but we'll do the best we can. Okay, so I am just going to, I'm going to start at this end down here where it was already stitched. Let me see if I can show you. Where it was already stitched, I'm going to start at that stitch. And I'm just doing a straight stitch. And it's basically just to close it up. I am going to backspace a little. Okay, and then we're just going to roll with it. You kind of want to keep your plastic a little tight. And sometimes you might have to pull it at the top. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it. Uh-oh. Oh no! My bobbin's empty. Let me fix it. Okay. Got more thread in the bobbin. So now I'm just stitching a straight line all the way down. And you don't have to go all the way to the top, because I don't, you know what, I think I do need to go a little bit further. I just want to make sure I have enough to cover the opening. Okay. So that's kind of, I mean, it's fairly easy to do the stitching, you know, on the plastic. It's not really hard. And this side I won't have to stitch because it's already sealed. So that's pretty much how you do it. Just make sure, see, like sometimes it gets stuck in place. You just have to pull a little bit from the other side. And I'm just going to backstitch, backspace. And that's how you do it. That's how you sew on the plastic. Okay. Okay, and then we're just going to take our frame and we're going to place it where we need it. And it doesn't matter if some of the plastic's showing down at the bottom, because we're gonna trim it up anyways. Okay, so I'm just gonna flip it over, and that's kind of where I'm gonna need it. So I'm just gonna put some art glitter glue all around the edge. I'm gonna go ahead and lay that down in there so it kind of holds it for me. And basically the whole of this is just to make sure that it holds it until we get the whole thing put together. Okay, gonna run some this way. And this way. You just want to make sure you get it far enough from the edge so that it doesn't show through your window. You don't want glue showing through your window. Okay. I'm just going to smush that in, and I'm going to kind of pull it this way so that it doesn't show through the window. And I'm going to let that dry for a second. Okay, once it's good and dry, you're going to add a little more art glitter glue, and I'm going to add some around the edges or whatever kind of glue you like. Doesn't have to be art glitter glue. But I'm going to go around the edges on top of the plastic and below it. And even on the cardboard parts, because we're going to put our back on. Okay. I think I'm going to put a little bit of glue underneath the edge right here, just to be safe. And then we're going to take this and line it up with our backing, however we want it to be. like that, and just press it in and let it dry. Okay, so I've let it dry, and I went ahead and stitched all the way around. You do not have to do that. If you glue it good enough, you don't have to do that, but I just wanted the stitched look, so I went ahead and did that. And now I'm just going to take my trimmer, and I am just going to trim up the edges. Don't want to go through this cardboard too good. Sorry about the noise, guys. I paused it and finished doing the trimming so you didn't have to hear me banging. Part of the reason it did that is because I had not let the glue all dry good yet. So if you're going to do this at home, let your glue dry before you try to trim it up. It'll make it a lot easier. Okay, so there's our specimen. So on the back side, you can make it, you can cover it, you can make a pocket, you can do whatever you want to with it. I'm not going to do anything with it because I want to use this as a pocket. So this is going to be a pocket in one of my journals. So, but anyway, that's how you can make a specimen card or a shaker card out of your packaging. So from Trash to Treasure, you can do this with spaghetti boxes. You know, they have the little window, or any of your little boxes that have the little window, food boxes or anything like that. You can do this using those boxes too. So don't throw away your goods. Keep them and make something pretty out of them. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've had a wonderful, wonderful day. I hope you grab your supplies and you make some pretty specimen cards or shakers and put them in your journals. If you do, I'd love to see pictures of them. Tag me. You can hashtag me at Shawcraft1 or my old barn door, and I'll be able to see those. I would love to see your pictures of your projects. So hopefully you have fun with them. And in the next video, I have some more stuff coming up. So can't wait to see you then. Big hugs.